So that leads us very nicely on to our colleagues here to my right, who have changed places. Thank you, Phil and Sosa. I'd like to introduce you to Phil Brewer, to my right, retired from the Metropolitan Police Service since 2019. Phil is a specialist advisor on modern slavery at the Human Trafficking Foundation here at the university. Phil also is an honorary research fellow at the Bakita Centre here, and he's accompanied by Susa Ngoma, person with lived experience of child criminal exploitation. And for the next 10 to 15 minutes, they will be in dialogue together. So over to you.
And thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. Just to make an admission, Sosa and I are good friends, so hopefully this will flow quite nicely. And I guess we've had many discussions on many things over the last couple of years, and this is something that I've never really had a discussion with you about specifically.
No.
So I'm quite interested, to be honest. Through your journey, you had a lot of legal support, some good, some not so good.
Yeah.
And I just wondered if you're able to sort of summarise during that journey, at the various stages, how that felt to you. What were the standout features of the support that you received?
I'll definitely say, especially from legal side, my solicitor was a bit different from from every other solicitor, where she did not come standingly where it was just a personal type of thing. It was more, we built an actual relationship where it was a positive relationship where I actually felt like I could trust this woman and this woman had my interest at heart. But previously to other solicitors, if we was going to talk about criminal, because that was my immigration solicitor, but if we was going to speak about my criminal solicitors, it was more a fact of getting a task and a job done. So for me, it was always a fact of like, oh, we just need to move on to the next case, or this is just going to be, you fit in this box and you're more likely to just get this sentence or everything else. But for me growing up, I never felt like I fitted in any books that people tried to put me in. And then to have my immigration solicitor at the age of, I think I was 21 at that moment of time, but to have my immigration solicitor at the age of 21 being the only person to ever listen to me and see me for a victim of modern day slavery. But previously to other solicitors, it was always a fact of, oh, he committed a crime and he needs legal help. And that's what we're going to focus on. We're not going to look deeper and we're not going to focus on anything else because that's not what we're here for. But my immigration solicitor was able to look deeper. And I would say even connection wise, like she didn't just come on a fact of, oh, you need to tell me this bit about the exploitation or this bit about everything else. It was just the fact of tell me your story from the start to the end. That's what she asked for. She didn't ask for anything much. She just asked, tell me your story from the start to the end. And even when there was bits she didn't understand, because obviously like, there was always, I'll say language barrier, where it's not always language where we speak, I might speak English and Phil might speak Spanish or something. It can be literally the dialogue that I speak differently from my solicitor. So sometimes she may not understand what I was saying. So she would ask me, oh, what do you mean by this? And that's her being professionally curious, not her actually, shaming me, blaming me, or making me feel a type of way. It's just her just asking me because she doesn't understand how I speak. So things like that.
And I guess so just listening to what you're saying, it's that, and I think it was Brian mentioned it before, it's about that relationship building as well. And that's not always easy in a professional setting. It sounds like your immigration solicitor managed that. And I'll ask the question why. Why do you think that approach was different and how was it different?
It was a lot different because she came from a fact of she didn't know it all and she just wanted to know. She just wanted to know what the story was behind everything. And also she was relatable, not in a relatable as in she related to my experience. She related to the fact of I'm currently in a position where I feel vulnerable. I'm currently in a position where I feel low. I'm currently in a position where right now I don't know what my future is going to be. And she related to that, and she was able to speak to me on the fact that obviously I would say there was times in my journey, my legal journey, where I felt like giving up because I thought to myself that no one's going to listen. This is too much, even though we have one lady trying, but it's just one lady. And that was it for me. So, and for her, she never gave up. And to really survive, to even to sit here, to be speaking in front of you guys, is due to my solicitor. Because if my solicitor didn't have that, oh, I'm not going to listen to you saying, because at one point I was going to sign the papers and get sent back home. Because for me, is that I don't want to be in prison for any longer than I should be. And if I'm going to be deported, and this was being said, I might as well get deported. No one's going to listen that I've been exploited. No one's going to listen or listen to my story. No one ever listened. And for her to tell me, no, we're still going to fight it. And for me to be able to be here and tell you guys, this is my experience, it shows that that good practice, that trauma-informed practice actually works. That relatable practice work, coming from being professionally curious with a survivor, that works. So, yeah.
Okay, and I know I shouldn't do this, and I promise I'll bring the room back onto a positive, but just talk about what didn't work so well. What were the occasions where things didn't work, and why?
I would say 100%. It didn't work previously with, like I explained before, criminal solicitors, because it was more of a fact of, like they were just reading it on the surface, not looking deeper. And it's easy to see someone for just what's written on paper. Because if my immigration solicitor looked at what was written on paper, it said that I was violent, I was aggressive, I was all these type of things, I was volatile, all these words that were used to describe me. But the person that she met in person was totally different. So it's actually looking deeper. So I'll definitely say that. You know me, I don't like talking, I like talking about people.
I know. I knew you wouldn't name names. So, as for legal practitioners, if you were able to provide feedback or give advice in terms of what they should consider to actually improve the service that they provide, what would they be?
Honest truth,
Yeah.
I would say treat them like your own.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the service that you would want your children to be given. Give them the service you would want your cousin or your uncles or your aunties or your daughters or your son to be given. Treat them like your own. That's the only thing I can say. My solicitor treated me like her own, and she fought for me like her own, and I can vouch for that. Like, she never gave up. She always went above and beyond. And even when I felt like other services weren't obviously doing what they were meant to be doing, she made sure them services were able to be accountable for their actions. So for me, 100%, treat them like your own.
I know, obviously, the solicitor you've mentioned, and I won't embarrass them by naming names in terms of where the service that really made a difference for you. But in terms of general support for lawyers, and picking up on what Ruth said as well, particularly around how hard this can be from a professional perspective in terms of dealing with these cases, how do you think lawyers could be better supported?
100%. I would definitely say, you've definitely said it, vicarious trauma is that most of the time lawyers are hearing all these stories and different type of stories. And for them, it's hard for them to take that home and obviously then go live their personal life. And I feel like that's not taken into consideration, that at the end of the day, even though that they are lawyers and they're meant to fight your legal battles, they're not no super people. They're still human beings. They still need that care. They still need that service where they're able to offload and also able to have like, I think me and Tony were speaking earlier on, where we was talking about at the end of the day, to this day on, I still have a mentor. I still have someone that I speak to. I still have someone that I have to address with. So at the end of the day, I feel like even lawyers, they still need that form of care, that peer-to-peer support, that peer-to-peer care.
So it's about looking after yourself as well.
100%. And it's all about collaboration too, because at the end of the day, it takes a village to raise a child. So really and truly, it takes a whole partnership and a whole everyone holding hands to help a survivor.
Right. So in addition to your studies, I'm going to make you sound really busy now. So in addition to your studies here at St Mary's, completed your foundation, about to move on to undergrad criminology. What are you laughing at? I've already given you the question. You're also a consultant and also a mentor as well. So, you know, working in that environment, if you were able to provide, I know you've sort of spoken about this in terms of that, how building trust, etc. But if you were able to give legal practitioners advice in terms of their approach, what would that be?
I'll say be authentic. Literally, obviously, where I come from, we have a thing called selling people a dream. And that means telling them something that you're not able to obviously hold up to. So just literally tell them the truth, what you can actually do, what you can't do. Just be you, be you. That's all you can do. Like I feel like sometimes people feel like they have to do the absolute most. More really and truly, if you just actually are honest about what you can do, that person's able to understand, okay, this is as far as you can take. Cool, what are we going to do next? I'm going to say to you. So just be authentic.
Final question. Final question, I promise you.
You didn't send us some more questions, man.
I honestly
Send us some more questions. No, this was the added questions.
Right, final question. Final question. You work with young people in particular in terms of supporting them and helping them sort of make the right life choices. And I appreciate it's not always within their gifts to choose the right legal practitioner. But what advice would you give them in terms of when they're seeking that legal advice? How would you advise them to do that?
I would say, especially if you're from the community I would say if you're from where I'm from, most of my young people, we know real recognize real. So from when you come into the room, if you're not genuine, we can tell already. And from then we shut down. So for most young people in there, I would say, obviously, still give them a chance and don't fold yet. That's the best one I always say, don't fold yet. But really and truly, young people understand that if someone is genuine and someone isn't, and they will 100% engage with someone who they feel is actually there for them. So really and truly, it's not on the young person, it's on a professional. You can't blame a child on how he's engaging.
But it's about that, you know, you've spoken about it a lot. It's about that being genuine.
100%.
It's listening.
That's it.
And it's building trust.
Just open, just having that ears open and also able to ask that question. If you don't understand something, ask the question. And if at the end of it, just clarify with that young person, is that what you meant? Is this what you meant? Like, so they're able to feel like they have some form of autonomy in that situation. Because you're forgetting you're dealing with survivors. The autonomy has been taken all their life. And at the end of the day, as legal and even as some form of support, we're meant to be empowering them and giving them back the autonomy. So just little things like that builds that.
And I think that's a really important point to finish off on, Sosa, is that it's that bit about not being worried, and this is from a professional's point of view, not being worried or embarrassed about asking a question when you don't understand.
100%. You're older, you ask me questions a lot of times.
You know, I've well, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses.
That's me doing with the kids, you doing the professional.
Sosa, thank you. Anne, that's you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much.